All right, got a mastering tutorial here. Let's get right into it, man. Check the song out. First thing.
West, bring the heat, bitch.
Hey, bitch, get out my way. Diamonds on my neck, make them Simon say. Bitches do a dance and then I be up on my way.
Alright, so a little taste, right? That's next song's gonna be on my project Pink Elephant 2. Release date is coming soon. But now on this song, right? This is the unmastered version. Now there's some differences, some things that really take a song from a rough song or like a mix to a full master, and I don't think people really cover it too much. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into this. So first thing in this instance, I felt like the vocal was not loud enough. This is something that I noticed when I would listen to this car in the car, listen to the song in the car. It was, vocal a little bit lacking. Finished songs have a much louder vocal sound. Now vocals can be at all different levels, but in this one I definitely knew it was too quiet the way that I mixed it. So the great thing about this is Ozone Master Rebalance is a very easy way just to get that vocal up. So there's a section for vocal, bass, and drums. Don't recommend touching bass and drums because in drums you would think like, oh yeah, percussion is great, right? But the kicks in there, so kind of mess with your low end. And the bass, it messes with all your low end. There's no distinction between bass and sub bass, so you kind of can fold your whole mix. But vocals is exactly what it needs to do. Crazy transparently, don't know how, but I boosted 2.4. That's what I thought worked. So just quick before and after.
Hey, bitch, get out my way. Diamonds on my neck, make them Simon say. Bitches do a dance and then I be up on my way.
Right, so very clearly, right, vocal got a little bit louder, right, got it right in the pocket. Now the next thing is like arguably the most important, which is going to be mid-side EQ. Now the big thing about mastering is that it's really a game of headroom, right? You have up to -1, right, because you want to put your limiter at -1 dB for your ceiling, and you're trying to work with that confine to make your song as loud and as pleasant as possible. So a big part of it is gaining yourself headroom. So I spin the mid side because you get so much more control of bands and different frequencies, so that you are able to boost the right amount of everything and take away the right amount of everything wherever you can get it from. And that's going to be the biggest difference, the biggest game changer. So in the mid, if you notice here, I rolled off up to 31. Now the reason that I did that was because below that you can't really hear it too well, right? So if I take it down here, right, solo all this, 20, below 20 you don't hear anything. Start to move it up, at about 30, 29 you start to hear something. So I like to be a little more generous with taking some stuff away because I really want to get headroom right. I'll risk a little bit of low end because low end is there no matter what, and I want to have a louder master. So in the mid is when you take things away, it's the most helpful to you, right? So I went ahead and did that up to 31. Boom. Now I only boosted a bit right here at 1170, which sounds exactly like this here. Right, that just made the vocal pop a lot more. And so now into the side. Now the side where the heavy lifting comes in, right? The heavy lifting, right? This frequency here, in the sides only. Vibe right here. That's like that super sizzly top end. Now when I do this, I don't actually solo right here in the side. I actually like leave it just like this.
Hey,
right, very neutral, and then I'll solo here so I can actually hear just all the frequencies that fall there. And so that's where I boost, because the difference between mid and side isn't so huge in terms of like how it sounds to me. I just want to make sure that I'm getting the exact thing I need, and the quiet things that make up that pleasantry is what I'm boosting. That's not the way that I view it. So you can be heavy-handed right here in the side, right? I can go, I did 2.2 here, and then right here I did 4.4, but I rolled off up to 127. Again, if I solo this, you can't hear anything to even like 500. Even right here, you can't hear. It's like nothing, right? Not until.
Yeah. I mean, I will go, but I'm just saying that.
So, you get a lot of headroom from that. And so all these differences give you so much headroom, right? So much room to play with to make your master louder. And even though I boosted, quite a bit over here, taking away that combination kind of compensates for that. So like maybe, if you're loudness goes up like 0.8, it's not a big deal because the apparent loudness is so much more. So if I before and after back and forth,
Hey, bitch, get out my way. Make 'em. Hey, bitch, get out my way. Diamonds on my neck. Make 'em Simon say. Bitches do a dance and
you just get a better sound. And so there it is. Now next thing is this one, right? This is like EQ across the board. Now I like these type of analog plugins because they just have fixed points and they're points that sound good. And on this type of EQ right here, this Poytech EQP, it just knows what sounds good, right? 100 to me always sounds good, always makes it sound more analog, more finished, more professional. And then like 10, 12, or 16, it just depends on the song, but it'll always make it sound good, right? Now this 1.4, this 2.5, it isn't dB. I don't know what those numbers represent, but I just know as you boost it, it goes up, right? Attenuate, it goes down. So before and after, right, it's like soul and no soul.
Hey, bitch, get out my way. Diamonds on my neck. Make 'em Simon say. Bitches do a dance and then I be up on my way.
Right, that's like a huge difference right there. So we hit that, and then next, so if I leave this off, right, I don't use this as an EQ, pretty standard EQ, but I use the dynamic EQ section, right? So what this allows me to do is the range is -3. That's what I set it to. I say, hey, don't take anything out more than 3 dB, and it's going to turn things down when something starts to cross the threshold, right? The threshold that I just set right here. And it's going to turn it down just for that moment, right? Just based on this attack and release. So it is like compression, but it sounds like EQ. It doesn't sound like compression. And so it makes it pretty transparent. And I use this to clean things up because, as we get to this point of all this processing, things start to kind of, you might even notice at this point that things almost start to feel very like jumpy, very transient, kind of all over the place. And so it's very important to like clean things up a bit, right? Again, it helps it sound more analog, more professional. So before and after.
Hey, bitch, get out my way. Diamonds on my neck. Make 'em Simon say. Bitches do a dance and then I be up on my way.
See, so just cleaning it up, right? Just in frequencies that I felt like as I soloed and looked, it was like a bit noisy. And that's just the way I'm gonna do that. I'm cleaning up at this point because now I'm about to go ahead and do some of the heaviest lifting is our dynamics. Now, again, headroom, this is very technical. If I look at like the meters,
Hey,
that's where that sits.
hey, bitch, get.
That's where that sits. I literally just pull the compression down to like right when it's